Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show. My name is Gary Cassady. I'm the host today, and I've got a very special guest out of New Jersey, Jennifer Glass. We're going to be talking about business systems with LinkedIn. And Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gary. Great to be
Hi, how
here.
are you? Can you
Sorry?
hear me? Oh, I think we might be getting a little bit of a delay here.
I hear you now.
You hear me now? Okay. It sounds like the old Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? So, well, Jennifer, you're in New Jersey and you're a LinkedIn expert. And tell us a little bit about yourself before we kind of get started.
Absolutely, Gary. So I am a business coach and marketing expert. Like you, we both work with the small business market, and I focus a lot on LinkedIn and how you can utilize LinkedIn in your business to really make a tremendous impact in terms of finding the right people that want to talk to you and ultimately want to work with you when you have the right system, the right profile, the right program in place, and the right relationships, because everything is coming down to relationships.
Yeah. Awesome. So, well, thanks again for being on the show. Let's kind of just start off talking a little bit about LinkedIn. First off, what's the big difference between LinkedIn and all the other social medias? Like Instagram, Facebook. How is it different? How is it different from the other organizations?
That's a great question, Gary. And so many people fail to realize the difference when they look at what LinkedIn is versus Facebook. It's like, how many times do I have people say, I'm going to friend you on LinkedIn? No, you're not friending me on LinkedIn. You're connecting with me on LinkedIn. You want to be a friend? Let's connect on Facebook. Let's connect in other places, because that's where the friend thing is. But on LinkedIn, it's relationships, it's business. People are going on Facebook, they expect to see those cat videos and everything else that's on Facebook, what you had for dinner last night, but that's not what you expect to see on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong, on LinkedIn, you still want some of your personality coming through also, because when you show your personality, people get to know you. Remember, in business, everything is about the know, like, and trust factor. So if they see you, if they see the vulnerable side of you, then all of a sudden things start to make more of a deeper connection in terms of the way that they're looking at you. But in terms of LinkedIn, though, when you're going on LinkedIn, you're expecting to think about when you go to a networking event. Do you go in and say, hey, Joe, great meeting you, great seeing you, whatever, and like walking in a clown costume? Or are you walking in, hey, Joe, it's great to see you, and are you dressed appropriately for what your business would be doing? If you're dressed for the way that somebody would be coming in and saying, well, gee, I'm a clown. Well, you know what? If you work in a circus, maybe you do come in a clown costume because you work in a circus. But if you're going to be representing, let's say you're an accountant, are you going to be coming in a clown costume? No. You might do that, though, if you go and you volunteer as a clown for an organization. So it's things along those lines. How do you position yourself on LinkedIn versus how you position yourself on the other networks, and the kinds of content that you're sharing? You're not going to be sharing content that is going to be, well, yeah, I'm a clown, because nobody's going to work with you if you're a clown. But
So when I talk to people about like the difference, a lot of times, like Facebook, like you're mentioning, it's just, that's like business and personal. They want to see, like it's okay to post like pictures of your food, right? But on LinkedIn, no one really cares what you ate last night. Like they don't want those pictures. So you're absolutely right. What are, we talked a little bit about, before we went live here, on LinkedIn, like on the profiles and so forth. What is it about like the profile that is so important on LinkedIn versus like maybe a bio or something on Facebook? What is that?
So here's one of the key things that everybody listening has to be paying attention to. The first one is, remember that when you go out there, just like you go to a networking event, you only have a couple of seconds to get somebody's interest. You also have so many seconds to make a first impression. And you don't have a second chance at making a first impression. So if you're going to go out there and your profile is a resume, I mean, I've seen so many people's profiles that like coordinated this, researched that, did this. You know what? I'm not interested in your resume. That's not what LinkedIn is. And so many people in the beginning, and I was guilty of this in the very beginning too, because nobody knew what LinkedIn really was supposed to be in the beginning. You
Yeah.
put your resume up, but
Yep.
today though, LinkedIn is so much more than a resume. It is your business card online. And if you want people to do business with you, if you want people to know about you in a business setting, you have to have your profile optimized in a way that's going to make sense for your ideal prospect to want to
Yeah.
work with you, not what somebody is going to be doing and saying, well, yeah, I'm going to take this and take that. And oh, by the way, make sure your profile picture is something professional. It's not you at a party. Yes, again, if you're a party planner, be at a party. Like I said
Yeah.
before, how do you show up to events? How do you show up to where you're going? That's how you want to be seen online. And you don't want to have some cropped out portion of a picture either.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, it's amazing. It's like you see a hand on someone's shoulder in their LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
picture because it's not professional. Nobody's going to really look at you the same way as if you had a good headshot. Invest in a headshot so that way you can be seen that way.
Yeah, I mean, the headshot, it's so nowadays. I mean, you could go into like the shops like at the malls now, like JCPenney's. I know they're not everywhere, but around here, JCPenney's has like a photographer studio. You can go in less than an hour, and it's like $50, and you can get a headshot. And
Absolutely.
they'll do, and it's a professional looking. They'll send it to you digitally the same day.
Right.
I've been there. I've used other studios too, but I'm just kind of trying to find a national one that would be out there. But spend a little extra money on the profile. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some other tips on the profile itself? Of getting people's attention and so forth that you've utilized and it's working well for you.
Absolutely. So the first question I have for all of you is think about it from this perspective. Do you know what an avatar is? Right? For those of you that don't know what an avatar is, and I'm not referring to James Cameron's Blue People, by the way, but as an avatar, it is a representation of your ideal client. If you know what your ideal client is going to be looking for, the words they're using, the things that are going to be most important in their minds, that's what you want to convey in your profile, in your headline, in your about section. And by the way, don't make it about you. Make it about them and how you help them, right? If you're going to say, I am, or even better, Miss Glass does this, Miss Glass does that. Yay! You know what? I may love that because we all love patting ourselves on the shoulder, but nobody cares.
Yep.
And I tell people this all the time. I say, when you look at something and it's all about the person, it's not about how they can help you. Is that going to be something that's really going to make a difference to you?
Mm-hmm.
9 out of 10 people are not going to care about the other person. They are in it. I have this problem. How can you help me? If I can't immediately figure that out, I'm moving on to the next person. So make your profile all about how you can help your avatar. And remember, your avatar is extremely important in this piece. And what you want to do is you also want to make sure that you're changing your profile. It's not, we're dating ourselves here, but like the old set it and forget it, the Ronco guy, what done and done. You have to constantly be looking at your profile. What am I in a position that I can say, I can change this? I'm going to be looking at things. I'm going to be reaching out to people where that avatar is directly focused. And I'm going to be reaching out to them in a way I'm saying, hey, I am going to be trying to get business with these people. And after 3 to 6 months with those outreaches, and by the way, make sure your outstanding invitations are not ridiculous, because otherwise LinkedIn is going to give you a little bit of a penalty in terms of those outstanding invitations. Like if you've got invitations outstanding more than 6 weeks, unless it's somebody major, like if you're connected to former President Obama as an example on LinkedIn, I'm going to let that invitation stay a little bit longer than 6 weeks.
Okay.
But if it's a prospect and they didn't answer within 6 weeks, get rid of it.
Okay.
right? Because you don't want that outstanding.
That's a
But
good point. Yeah.
thank you. But what you want to make sure though is what are you doing to connect with those people? And then you move on. So if
Yeah.
you're looking at reaching let's just say the retail space. Right now, retail may be decimated in the wake of COVID and everything that we're looking at, but it is going to bounce back, at some point. And we're all going to be looking because they need solutions. What can I do right now? What can I do tomorrow? What can I do next week? What can I do next month, next year?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're reaching the retail market, first of all, like we said earlier, add value. Don't come straight off and say, I want to work with you, right? Give
Yeah.
them a tip.
Yep.
Something that they can immediately implement that's not going to cost them anything except for the few seconds it took to read your message.
Yeah.
They can then decide how they want to move forward. So you start working with them and you start saying, okay, I got this. And now all of a sudden you're going to be in a better position as you keep moving forward.
Yeah. No, one thing I've noticed a lot lately is some of the clients like I'm working with is they don't really complete their profiles and avatars, 100%. Like they'll leave off, some education stuff or, simple as a website. And so, how do what's the best way to kind of utilize and maximize the potential of just completing everything that LinkedIn has available for just on like the profile stuff?
Right. So first of all, LinkedIn actually has a scoring system.
Yes.
If you're a beginner, newbie, if you're an all-star, that's where your profile is built out with a whole bunch of these different pieces. That's important to look at. Another really important thing is if you have your URL, your linkedin.com/in address that shows up on the top of your browser, if that says, as an example, Gary-Cassady-76AXB723. Change it right now. I cannot stress that enough. They say in real estate, and I'm going to, we know Gary is a real estate expert here. For those of you that are looking to learn more about real estate, talk to Gary. But what you want to do, though, is you really want to look at that real estate and make it specific for you. You want to make sure that not only is that URL personalized, that little profile image that's on top of the profile, the header image, you want that to be personalized too, and not the dots that LinkedIn has as the default image. And don't do something generic that's there, like a skyscraper, because a skyscraper doesn't mean anything unless you're in construction and you build skyscrapers. Remember what we said a moment ago, your avatar. If your avatar is looking to build skyscrapers, then yes, put that in there. But if you are an accountant and you've got a skyscraper, what does that mean to me? It doesn't mean anything.
Means nothing.
They say a picture conveys a thousand words. Show me something that actually stands out.
Yep.
One thing for me in my profile image, and for those of you, or the header, for those of you that are interested, is linkedin.com/in/Jenny Glass is the URL to go to. But if you look at my header image, I do a lot of speaking. I'm asked to speak all over the place. So it's a picture of me speaking. It also has my media credentials because I've been seen in a bunch of different media outlets. And it also has my tag, your business growth strategy starts right here. Because everything in there is specifically designed to convey something. It's designed to say business strategy. It's designed to say, hey, she's credible. She's been in all of these media outlets. It's designed to say she speaks. So all of these different things are out there, and it's conveyed by that one image that's showing up right on the top of my profile. And so when you show all of these different pieces, it immediately starts getting more value and building more trust. Remember, know, like, and trust as the important features before somebody's going to want to work with you. And then make sure your headline is something that conveys what you do. And you always want to start with a verb, helping, doing, something along those lines, something ing. You want to say the industries you work with. You want to say what you do, and you want to say what they can expect.
Yeah.
When you can go out there and you can show them what it is exactly that somebody is doing, all of a sudden it starts standing out there, and it's a way to make a difference and start connecting. And again, your about section, that summary, don't make it about you. Make it about what it is that they can expect to get when working with you. The more that you can do there, that's extremely important. And remember, folks, put contact information in there. Because if I don't know how to reach you, if I have to wait to connect with you before I can reach you, if I'm looking to connect with you, you lost potential prospect because someone else is going to have that.
Yeah. Now, do you put like your own cell phone number and stuff in as a contact, or do you recommend like maybe like a WhatsApp phone number or something of that nature? Like a
So
third
I have
party?
my office number in there.
Okay.
With my extension. So if somebody wanted to directly reach me, they can. You can definitely do a Google Voice number, a WhatsApp number, things along those lines. That's not a problem. Just make sure, though, that if somebody is getting in touch with you, reach out as soon as possible.
You answer.
Right. You answer or as soon as possible. Because very often, remember, one thing, and it's been proven, if somebody can't reach you right away, they're more likely going to move on. If you can get back to somebody within a few minutes, you're much better than somebody in an hour. Somebody in an hour better than 4 hours, 4 hours better than tomorrow. And it's because somebody is in the middle of directly researching. It's the customer journey or the buyer journey that somebody is going through when they pick up the phone or when they email you to connect with you.
Yeah.
Same thing on your website. If you can integrate one of those widgets that'll allow somebody to even call you right away, you're going to be better off than somebody having to pick up the phone and making that phone call too. So it's all things along those lines. What can you do to really make that difference? And how do you get it to stand out so that somebody is going to want to work with you?
Okay. Well, what else are you doing on LinkedIn? Are you doing much in like LinkedIn groups? Do you run your own group? Like, what is it, because there's a lot of other features that people may not even realize on LinkedIn itself. So,
right. So LinkedIn groups, I'm certainly involved with groups. There's a number of groups, and pay attention, by the way, again, where your ideal prospects are. Everything is, don't hang out in the garage if all your people are in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right. If you're in the wrong place, you're not going to connect with anyone. You have to be connecting to where they are, so that way you can be in that position to do exactly what you want to do. You want to talk with them. So that's one thing. You also, if you can, try and form your own group, because then it becomes your own fishing pond. Right? If you can control who's in the group, you can control the kinds of messaging that can go through the group, you're in a better position to start controlling what is actually there versus what is being put out there by everybody else. So you can control how you reach people. The other thing is also make sure it's engagement, right? When you post something on LinkedIn and it's only like once every 3 months that you're posting something, people aren't going to remember you. Remember top of mind awareness, right? We all know TOMA and FOMO and all of those 4-letter acronyms that are out there. And if you don't have that because you're too busy on, I don't know, Facebook, if you're a B2B player, LinkedIn is going to be much better for you than Facebook is. Nobody's on Facebook really to be sold, right? We all know, unfortunately, Facebook makes their money by putting ads, and we're all guilty of putting our ads on there because we're trying to get people to know about us. But on LinkedIn is where a lot of those relationships really come in, and how we can cultivate those relationships for ultimately the person being our client. When you know everything that you have coming in and you're active on people's posts, you're liking, you're commenting, you're tagging, you're doing all of those things, that's extremely important. And if you're lucky enough to have a LinkedIn Live account, which, by the way, for anyone at LinkedIn listening, I'm still waiting for mine.
LinkedIn Live, it's amazing. So like you bring up a good point. A couple things here, like the live video that they're allowing, and not everybody like yourself, like you've just mentioned, not everybody's able to get a live account. And so like every social media is going live right now. And so like I think live video is by far the most important thing they should be doing on a day-to-day basis. And
Right.
so, yeah. How much time are you spending on LinkedIn itself? Like, every day? Like, are you on there for hours? Like, what does that look like for you? How much time do you recommend people being on?
Right. So the answer is, what is it that you're doing and what is your strategy on LinkedIn? For me, LinkedIn is an extremely important platform in my business. I'm looking at LinkedIn. I mine LinkedIn. When somebody comes to me and says, hey, Jennifer, I need X.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you know that does that? I will look, if I don't know someone off the top of my head, I will look at my LinkedIn network and say, all right, who does X? Then I can give to that person. My clients know they can come to me at any point and say, I need someone to do X, Y, and Z. And 9 out of 10 times on average, I will find somebody that does X, Y, and Z, or I will find someone that knows someone that can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that you definitely want to be doing. The other thing you want to be doing is you want to be looking at who can you connect with that is going to either be an influencer, someone that is going to know people that can connect you with the people you want to talk to, or someone that is directly who you want to speak with. Again, for my speaking engagements, very often I am going and finding the event organizers and connecting with them because I want them to book me for a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I'm looking to get on a podcast, it would be the same kind of an idea.
Yeah.
I have my VAs doing a lot of the outreach, but I will find the people and then have my VAs actually do that in terms of that connection. So that way, whatever needs to be taken offline can be taken offline, but I will start that relationship. So it really comes down to what is it that you're looking to do on the platform. If you're looking just to be selling people, it may be something you're on there 5 hours a day. You really have to be doing a lot of searches to find people.
Sure.
But if you're looking to have relationships and then cultivate those relationships over the long term, a lot can come off LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you're not spending as much time on the platform, because if it's just on LinkedIn, you're stuck with what LinkedIn is giving you.
Yeah.
But when you pull it off, you have more. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, especially on your phone, if you can...
Oh, you still here?
I'm here.
Okay, you froze up just for a second.
Sorry.
So I just want to make sure.
For those of you that have a phone and you have the LinkedIn app on your phone especially, there's a really easy way to send voice messages. When you send a voice message to someone, it's going to be listened to much more often than a text message being sent. Not only that, it's also a heck of a lot more personalized, right? Somebody that's getting, and I don't know about all of you, I know Gary and I were talking before we went live on the program, we got a ton of mass automated solicitations to come on and be connected on LinkedIn. But if you send a personalized message and you say, hey, Gary, listen, I'm interested in connecting with you because X, Y, and Z, or hey, thanks so much for the connection. By the way, there's a couple of things I wanted to run by you. And LinkedIn has about a minute cap in terms of the message that you can send. But think about how much you can get through in that minute, whereas the person who has to read your message may take 3 minutes to read it if they get through more than the first 4 lines of what you actually sent them because you lost them. But if you send a voice message, first of all, there's no way to know what else is said in that voice message. So they're probably going to listen to your voice message to see, what did she send me? There's all of those little ninja strategies you can use to really connect with people and deepen that know, like, and trust factor. Because again, if somebody can see me in the eyes, they can trust me more. If somebody hears my voice, they can trust me more. Somebody sees me, in that regard, it's going to be a lot easier to deepen and immediately deepen that relationship as opposed to just a back and forth text relationship. So it's things along those lines you can definitely do. And there are some tools, believe it or not, that can take a voice message and mass send it out to your contacts. I wouldn't recommend immediately doing that until you know what you're doing and how to do it. but there are some of those tools that I know of to
Yeah.
get out there.
Yeah. Well, let's back up just a little bit. You mentioned something about a virtual assistant helping you on LinkedIn. Are they like being like a manager of your account, like taking over your account? Are your virtual assistants out of like the Philippines? I have a lot of virtual assistants I use out of the Philippines, but like, are yours like, out of the Philippines? Are they here in the States? Like, tell us about your virtual assistants and how they're kind of helping you on your LinkedIn.
So my virtual assistants don't actually go into my LinkedIn.
Okay.
Everything I do is handed off to them. My virtual assistants are primarily in the Philippines, and you and I may actually be using one of the same marketplaces to get the program. Is it okay if I mention who I use?
Yeah, that's fine. I have a program that I've designed myself with my virtual assistant. So to find
Okay.
virtual assistants, but whoever you're using, feel free to, yeah.
So I use FreeUp. It's
Okay.
a big marketplace out of the Philippines. Nathan Hirsch and Connor Gillivan, two friends of mine, that created that platform, and then they ended up selling it 6 months, something like that ago.
Awesome.
Basically, right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the VAs that I have, like I said, primarily in the Philippines, I will hand a lot off to them so that they can work with it. They can do the kinds of things that I need them to do. But I don't want to give them overall control, because in the event any relationship turns sideways, I want that immediate pulling back of access. And it's not as easy yes, you can change a password,
Yeah.
but then I've got a million different things that are connected, and to have to go in manually is just, yeah.
Okay. So are they essentially doing some connections too, like on LinkedIn for you as well? Like, hey, we found this particular individual that we thought you might connect to. Is that
No.
what they're doing as well?
So all of the connections and that kind of stuff is directly by me.
Okay.
If I need to take things offline, sometimes they will take it offline at the beginning and then move from there.
Very good. Now, you also mentioned some software that potentially you should and shouldn't use in a sense, but are you currently using a software to help you in your LinkedIn, like doing connections or sending out, messages to people? What does that look like for you at the moment?
So there's a number of programs out there. There's Linked Helper, there's Duck Soup, a whole bunch of those different systems that somebody can definitely use to get more in terms of what's actually out there. And the advantage of using these programs is that, first of all, it helps you in finding people. And that's even if you have a free account. You don't need a professional LinkedIn account to find these people. You don't need to spend the 50, 75, however much a month more on those accounts. Now, obviously, if you're looking to use more of their tools to find more of your ideal clients, Sales Navigator or premium LinkedIn account is going to be a lot more beneficial, because you can really nail down and look at a lot more people than what you can do if you're on a free account. But the Duck Soup, the Linked Helper, things along those lines, one of the things they allow you to do is they allow you to look at profiles. And for those of you, by the way, that are not looking at who's been looking at your profile, how many searches you've been seen, and what the keywords are that you've been found using every month, start looking at that, right? If you're on a free profile, you're given, I think it's 5 of the last profile views that you can see. If you're a paid LinkedIn account, you can see a whole bunch more. But the idea, though, is look at those people and look at the search results, how somebody found you. Because if somebody's finding you because you worked at, I'm just going to throw out IBM as an example. For some reason, I pick on IBM way too much. But if you worked at IBM and that has absolutely no relevance to what you're doing today, you might not want that on your profile, because somebody's finding you because you were there. But if you, though, are a consultant in some industry and that's what somebody found you for, let's just say you're an IT consultant and you show up IT consultant, you know that your profile is being optimized in a way that people are finding you because they're looking for IT consultants.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're finding you because you're chief executive officer of your business, it may not be the best thing.
Yeah.
You know, because CEO is probably going to be someone who's a sales guy reaching out to you and wanting to solicit you, not the other way.
Yeah. That brings up some good points. Now, how does one, that's new to LinkedIn actually go in and search like the keywords and things of that nature that they're being found? How do they know that?
So when you scroll down on your LinkedIn profile, one of the things that are right underneath, if I remember correctly, your summary section says how many views your profile has gotten and how many search results you came up in. But it's also in the notifications when when it shows up, Gary Cassady looked at your profile.
Yep.
Well, you can look at that, and then it shows on the top a graph in the last 90 days, how many people have been searching for you. It'll show you a plus or minus over the last 7 from the 90-day rolling average where you are. And then underneath, it'll show the number of times you're shown in the search results. When you click into that, you can then see all of the search results, or not all, but you can see a good chunk of the search results of but what terms they looked at. And you want to not only be looking at that, just like you look at your website, you look at your analytics, who's been getting to my website because they search for X term. You want to be doing that on LinkedIn also, because it's really important, because that's something that's telling you my profile is hitting the right people or it's missing the mark. So what can you do that's going to be making that difference?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are some other good tips that you're finding works really well connecting on LinkedIn?
Make sure that you're adding value and you're building rapport before anything else. One thing is really, really important. If you go out there and you say, somebody is a veterinarian, as an example, and you're looking to connect with this veterinarian, and you say, I love my vet. My vet has helped my dog do X, Y, and Z. For 13 years, my vet was there with my dog. And, unfortunately, at the end, when the vet had to put the dog down, she was extremely helpful, and whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have so many characters that you can build a connection with off the bat, right? What is it that is helping you to create that connection so that somebody wants to connect with you instead of just, hey, let's just connect? And by the way, there's a whole school of thought. Do I put a message in? Do I not put a message in? I like putting a message in because it actually shows I care.
Yeah.
Some people just connect. Yeah, whatever. It's another connection. Other people, I get so many fake profile requests connecting with me that I've begun just ignoring a whole bunch of them. And, when someone is a student, especially in China, no offense against the students in China, they very well may be great, but if they're not clear why I should connect with them, I'm not going to. Remember, your profile needs to be optimized, because your headline right underneath your name is your headline that goes with your invitation.
Yep.
And if it doesn't stand out as a reason to connect, like CEO at company X, really? Do I carry your CEO at company X? If you're not telling me how you're helping me, I've got way too many other things to do and deal with than connect with another CEO of company X that doesn't even tell me what the company does.
Yeah.
If I get a request, from Robert Herkovic as an example, yeah, I'm going to connect with him because I know he's a shark and there's a reason for me connecting, right?
Yep.
But I'm not going to connect with any Joe Schmo who's just because he's CEO, because that doesn't mean anything. Because, like I know on Facebook, people put down, as their title, they're CEO at Google. Well, I know you're not CEO at Google because I know who the CEOs are. And if you're not Mark Zuckerberg, don't tell me you're CEO at Facebook.
Yeah.
But there's people that have that in their profile, or CEO at self-employed. Really?
Yeah.
I don't care. So what is it that you're doing? Things along those lines. That's extremely important when you're going out there and connecting.
Well, that does. I mean, it brings up a good point. And one of my next questions was, do you accept everybody that wants to connect with you? And you kind of clarified a little bit of that, but can maybe we get a little bit more detail on that? Like, because sometimes I'll get like 50 people want to connect, and I don't have time to go through all of them and see who's what and when and where. So there's times I'll just hit accept everybody type of scenario where it takes 2 seconds. But can you tell me a little bit more like how you handle that and so forth? Like I know like on Facebook I can tell a fake profile.
Right.
And on LinkedIn it's a little bit harder for me to notice right off the bat on the fake profile. But like a lot of times on LinkedIn, I just kind of connect with everybody.
Right. So there's a couple of tells, by the way, on LinkedIn, just FYI, in terms of finding the fake profiles. One of the big ones is when it's the exact same invitation.
Yeah.
I got, I think 6 or 7 from women saying, as fearless women, we shouldn't apologize for being so straightforward. And, I hope you don't mind, the brashness of the message, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And the first time I got it, I'm like, okay, I didn't have a chance to connect with her yet before I got another one. And then before I even had a chance to look at the second, I got another 2 or 3 within another day. Oh. And that it's the same person sending messages, and they're targeting women based on that kind of invitation. And the only reason they're doing that is so that they can get my email, so that they can spam me and then try and get whatever other nonsense either in my system or to other people in my organization. One of the big things, the business email compromise situation, where somebody goes, they find the CEO, and then they go to the accounting person and send a fake invoice. So a lot of these people, it doesn't matter how big the organization is, they think they're going to find, oh, you're CEO, I'm going to hit you, and then I'm going to start looking in your organization, who else works with your organization, and then I'm going to send these stupid emails to get more from you. And so I will immediately ignore people like that are just so straightforward. Another thing is, if they're putting in their invitation, we're software developer from Ukraine, we want to work with you. You know what? Unless I directly need somebody from Ukraine doing a software piece for me, and that's if all of my other IT people that I know can't do anything, then I'll maybe have a conversation. But realistically speaking, if somebody's coming to me and telling me, hey, we're software developer from Ukraine, and they really have bad grammar too, I'm going to ignore it. And again, my first job was with people in the Asia Pacific region. So I know grammar is not ideal, especially because they're using translators 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're writing in Chinese and then they're translating it back into English. And well, we know any system is going to miss the nuance. So I work with that, but those are some of the things that I immediately discount. Like if somebody's coming in, they're clearly not relatable, I'll just ignore the invitation. The other thing is, if somebody is directly selling me, I'm going to ignore it because I don't have time to be sold.
Yep. I do that now. Big time.
If I want to be sold, I will let you know. And I go on certain programs to be sold because I want to hear the close.
Yep.
But that's the only reason I do it. I don't have time in my regular life to sit there and be closed. So don't bother me with those kinds of invitations, things along those lines. And that is, one of the things. But, in terms of one major point with LinkedIn, when going back again, if you connect with people the right way, right? And it's really, really important that if you look at the percentages of people that are using LinkedIn, like 15% of senior executives are using LinkedIn that are ready to buy. Make sure that you're connecting with them in a way that offers value, right? Too many people are throwing nonsense and garbage and they're not interested. Look at what they're doing first and then connect. If you can directly say, again, I connected with somebody several years ago who's a referral partner of mine who is a Jets fan, lifelong Jets fan. My brother and sister-in-law, big Jets fans. Being in
Yeah.
New Jersey, that they play in my backyard. Literally, I have to deal with traffic on Sunday sometimes, because they're playing here. And if you have that connection, it becomes a lot more favorable. If you don't,
Okay.
where are you going to go? And that's the way that you connect and how you can really build that
Yeah.
major connection and value and hopefully ultimately a client.
Awesome. So well, I know we're getting close to wrapping up here, Jennifer. But what are some last tips that you can tell people about LinkedIn on connecting and just maximizing it for their business?
Make sure, like I said before, you're creating relationships. You're always adding value. It's like the finest sommelier. You want to be going out there. If I had a napkin on my arm, it would be a little better. But how can I serve you rather than how can you serve me?
Yeah.
Right? If you can say, hey, Gary, what are 3 things you want to do this year? And I can answer even one of those,
Hmm.
right? Whether it's business or personal. But what are your biggest goals that you still are trying to get done this year? Well, you know what? Very often there's somebody saying they're looking at starting a business. They have no money to invest. I need to get everything done. Well, you
Yep.
know what? There's organizations like Fiverr that I can say, hey, Gary, do you know about Fiverr?
Hmm.
Well, yeah, maybe I knew it was around, but I may not know what it does. I may have just heard it.
Yeah.
If I
Absolutely.
connect you to Fiverr, and again, I have absolutely no connection with Fiverr, but if I connect somebody to Fiverr and they find somebody who can design a logo, who can design their business card, who can do all of those pieces, now all of a sudden, what did they do? As a business consultant, they may want to come back to me and say, hey, you helped me here. Now, I don't know what to do here.
Yep.
Can you help me here too? And
Absolutely.
again, are they an immediate client, long-term client, whatever it is, I can have that relationship. And you want to be constantly connected, not connect today and then I don't speak with you for 7 years.
Yeah.
Because then there's no connection value.
Yep. What I appreciate it. The insights on LinkedIn, and now you're also an author of a book, right?
I am.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about that. Go ahead and show your book
Yeah.
here for a minute.
For those of you that
There you go. It's the bottom line that matters.
yes,
So
it's the bottom line that matters. Quick tips and strategies you can use right now to grow your business in the next 12 months.
yeah.
It's an incredibly easy read, all designed to help you really grow your business
Hmm.
and reach that next level in terms of what you're trying to do in your business. So many of us get caught up in the mundane in our business, and we really need to focus on the things that help us and make us stand out in business. So, what is it that you can do immediately that
Yeah.
is going to transform your business? Because when you can really put your business on that trajectory to a different point, all of a sudden it's going to show tremendous differences in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, where can people find the book? Is it on Amazon
It's on
or?
Amazon. It's on any other online retailer.
Okay.
You can definitely find it there. And I hope that it can help you.
Yeah. So, well, you've been a wealth of knowledge, Jennifer, and thank you again for being on the show today.
Thank you.
We wish you the best, and you kind of opened our minds, obviously, on LinkedIn. I mean, it's amazing what people can do on LinkedIn and the business growth. So, get Jennifer's book if you want it. And thanks again, guys, for being on the show. Hope you learned a lot from it. And put us up in the comments or send us an email, however way you want to communicate, ask questions, and then we can get those addressed to you. Thanks again. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank
Have a
you so
great
much.
day.
You too.